Welcome to this Believe in NFL Draft Prospect podcast. This is an interview edition. You know it's a Thursday, so we are bringing you an interview and some insight into some of the best college football players in the entire nation. We have turned the page on the 2021 NFL Draft, so we're giving you some future guys. We're going to give you some 2022s specifically. We're also going to dive into some guys that might not be until 2023. Just going to try to give you the outlook on what the future NFL draft landscape looks like. I have a young man that I was really excited about. I watched his tape. I played a couple years at NC State, played a bunch, had 14 pass breakups his last 2 years combined for NC State. And the minute that you watch the film of the Wolfpack, number 24 from his size profile, listed at 6'3", 215 pounds, playing outside corner, is extremely impressive. And then I'm looking up, some rosters for this year, had a chance to sit down with Marquise Waters and seeing the talent that Texas Tech has on the team. And I didn't even know that Malik Dunlap had transferred over there. So inviting Malik to the show. Malik, appreciate you, man. Again, taking a little bit of time here today, man. How's everything been with you?
Everything been good for me. I'm loving the transition to Texas Tech. Coach Jones recruited me out of go to Texas Tech. I'm loving it so far.
I love it, man. I love it. I really want to get heavy into that, Malik, because I'm excited about the secondary and the defense just in general that Texas Tech has now. A lot of guys heading over there. I think it's going to be really exciting times. Before we start there, though, I want to get into a little bit of coming out of Harding University High School, North Carolina. I know you were recruited by a lot of some ACC schools, had several offers. Obviously, you ended up with NC State to begin your career. So can you just take me through briefly the recruiting process for you come out of Harding and why NC State was the best first stop in your career?
Okay, so my junior year coming out of high school, I had a lot of offers and recruits on me, and people were recruiting me, but then I broke my ankle. I broke my ankle, so NC State on the person team offered me a scholarship. So I had committed there, and then my senior year I started blowing up, but I believed in NC State because they believed in me first. So I went to NC State.
I love it, man. I love it. Obviously, you were very successful throughout your career. Like I said, you had a bunch of pass breakups the last 2 years playing outside corner. I know a lot of people, Malik, are probably going to pop on that film and be like, 6'3", 215 pounds playing outside corner. Obviously, that is some incredible size. I believe, and you can correct me if I'm wrong here, I believe you did maybe spend a little time at safety early on in your career, go back and forth, or were you always a cornerback?
Yeah, my freshman year they had me at safety, and then they moved me to corner.
Gotcha. And then for that transition, was safety something that you had played mostly in high school? Were you mostly a corner? Like, what was that transition like?
I played corner in high school, but they look at my side. They're like, you're going to be a great safety. Then I got to NC State so I can cover, and they moved me to corner.
Love it, man. I love it. And obviously, you had a couple really nice seasons. So can you talk to me, Malik, just in regard to playing time, your experience is at NC State. How much did you enjoy it, and how much for you did you grow as a football player specifically?
I love my time at NC State. I met a lot of good people I'm locked in for life with, and I learned the game like a lot like Brian Mitchell, because Brian Mitchell taught me the game, so he expanded my football IQ. So I feel like it was a good journey for me being at NC State.
And now this transition, I would love to just, if you could take me through why for you was leaving the program to take the opportunity to transfer portal, all that good stuff. Why was this the right time for you? And what about Texas Tech was the ideal spot for you to potentially end your career?
So when it was kind of weird. When I was growing up, I was actually a Texas Tech fan. Oh. I grew up as a kid. So then Coach Jones recruited me out of Duke when he was at Duke. And they ain't never gave him a chance there at Duke. So then when I was going up there, he was talking to me like, yeah, give me a chance. Like, you never give me one there. So he was talking to him. We had a good relationship in high school. So I'm like, it's a good fit for me to go up there and coached by Coach Jones. And then I was a Texas Tech fan growing up. So I feel like it was like life was coming around full circle.
That's awesome, man. And I need to ask you, I know it's a lot different, being a North Carolina guy and going down to Texas a little bit. How has the transition been for you? What has been some of your favorite parts of getting down there?
It is a lot different because, like, you know what I'm saying, Charlotte, I'm used to the city, but up there kind of like country-like, so I had to adjust to like the country and then much to do in Lubbock, but I know what I'm saying, it's straight up there. I like it up there. I'll just go up there and stay to myself and then do what I got to do in the field.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I love it. And I'm really excited, Malik, and we were talking a little bit briefly about this, this secondary specifically, I know there's a lot of great football players on this defense in general with Merriweather and Schooler and a lot of great linebackers and defensive linemen. But this secondary has me super excited because DeMarcus Fields has been somebody that's been on my radar a bunch.
Yeah.
Adrian Fry. I know they have Eric Monroe, of course, the former LSU transfer. They have Marquise Waters from Duke that just transferred over as well, another ACC guy. Talk to me a little bit about, man, just your initial impression of how talented this secondary is. For me, this has to be one of the more talented secondaries in all of college football.
Yeah, we be talking about it all the time. We be like, we got a chance to be the best secondary in the country. We got to lock in and buy in. We talk about it all the time, actually. Like every practice, we be like, if we lock in, man, do what we got to do, and everybody buy in, we'll be real good this year. Mm-hmm. I'm just excited to see what the season brings for us.
Yeah, and I know obviously you working through practice and kind of seeing where coaches have the ideal fit for you in the system schematically. I know you're a guy that, like you said, had played safety originally and then played, the majority of playing corner throughout your career. In this talented secondary, do you have an idea of what the best role is going to be for you? Is safety on the table, or are you strictly an outside corner right now?
Actually, I ain't played the spring because I had shoulder surgery, but talking to Coach KP, he was saying he's gonna try me a nickel, corner, and safety. So wherever I'm playing, I don't really matter. I'm on the field, I'm good.
I love it, man. I love it. And kind of just the relationship process. I know Texas Tech had, a new coaching staff, pretty recently. They're still, kind of a younger coaching staff. How has that been under this coaching staff and just that transition period for you, trying to get used to new coaches after, being under obviously in a different program? How has that transition, your relationship building with the coaches been?
My relationship kind of good with the coaches. I love Coach Wells. He's a good dude. He's down to earth. Coach Scholes and all them. Coach Jones. So the staff really good. The staff is good. They treat me right. So I'm real good with the staff.
Mm-hmm. And I want to ask you about that offense a little bit that you're going against every day, because I think that they're going to surprise a lot of people. I think Thompson at running back's a damn good player. Tyler Shuck, the quarterback, transfer quarterback out of Oregon. Travis Kuntz, the tight end, has been a guy that's been on my radar as well. How talented is that offense, and how much fun has it been? I know you weren't able to, compete in the spring, but just to see the talent level that they have on the other side of the ball.
Yeah, I feel like our offense gonna be real good. We got a good running game. We got the quarterback coming in for Oregon, real good. We got receivers like with Easy. I feel like it'll be real good over there on the offense. We got a lot of talent over there.
Mm-hmm. And I know, it stinks when you're not able to compete. I'm sure you would love to be on the field right now.
Yeah.
But from this standpoint of maybe being able to sit back under a new scheme, under a new coach, how has this been for you as far as just being able to kind of tune in on what you're looking at on the field, what your keys are, what the scheme asks you to do?
It's kind of funny because, I feel like the world kind of small. So, Coach KP and all them, they was all together at West Virginia. Well, my old NC State with Coach Gibson, so we all run the same defense. I ran NC State, so the whole defense, I'm familiar with everything because it's the same as that defense for NC State.
Love it, man.
So we all do the same stuff.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic. Familiarity obviously is really big, and being able to be comfortable in your new surroundings, I know is going to be huge for you. And you're a guy that, for me, it's so interesting because I had seen you, play, I've seen you in press. I've seen you in off a little bit. For me, I think NFL teams are going to look at that size and be like, hey, he could play potentially multiple spots in the secondary. He could be a cover 3 heavy corner, obviously with the length and the athleticism you have. For you, what do you feel like are your best roles in the secondary? What coverages are your favorite to play? Just kind of describe yourself as a football player a little bit.
I feel like my best coverage. I'm real good at man. I feel like when I get my hand, God bless me my side and stuff. So I finally get my hand on people. I control the route and stuff, so I'll be fine after that. Mm-hmm. But I can play anything, but I feel like my favorite is the man. I like being aggressive, put hands on folks.
I love it, man. I love it. And of course, the cornerback position in general in the NFL has become, even more important than it ever has. It's always been a paramount position, but we're seeing guys like Jalen Ramsey completely take over the game. Richard Sherman, obviously, has been a phenomenal longer corner. I really think the archetype of corners is really changing, and it's becoming obviously one of the probably top 2 or 3 positions in the NFL. Looking at some of these guys, Malik, that you've probably grown up maybe watching a bunch, are there some corners specifically, or defensive backs, maybe we'll just make it a little more broad, that you watch a ton, that you try to take some things from their game as well?
I'm trying to look at Marlon Humphrey. I like Marlon Humphrey, and I I like Jalen Ramsey. I like Xavier Howard. Them people I look up to. I like study their game all the time.
And what is it about those three games specifically that like you watch them and you say like I need to take that part of their game is going to be vital for my success?
For Marlon Humphrey, like Marlon Humphrey played everywhere. We played nickel, safety, corner. He played everywhere. So I like, you know what I'm saying, he a big corner. I don't like Jalen Ramsey, a big corner, so I'm big. You know what I'm saying? It'll be like, so I can't look at the smaller because, you know, so we got different gifts. So I look at the big corner to see what I could do to make my game like theirs.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yep. You got to look at the body types, the play styles. That all makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I love asking that question, because it's always the guys you emulate are guys that you're very similar to. And obviously you're a guy for me, Malik, that I'm excited about. I think that you're going to be on a lot of radars, especially when you make that jump. But kind of just looking and honing in on the 2021 season, we talked a little bit about how special this defense could be, talked a little bit about how explosive the offense could be. For you in the 2021 season for Texas Tech, what are some goals that you have both from an individual perspective and team-wise?
Well, individual, I want to be All-American. I want to be All-American this year. And get my hands on a lot of balls. And for the team, I just want to, you know what I'm saying, try and win the Big 12 championship. Do my part to try to contribute to help us win.
I love it. And obviously you're a guy that has been on my radar, wrote your name down a bunch, the number down when I was watching the NC State film when you were part of the Wolfpack. So last question for you is, obviously I believe that you are a guy from a physical perspective that a lot of teams, when you make that transition to the next level, are going to have a lot of interest in. So just speak to me for the future aspect of knowing that, you know, in a pretty near future that you have the opportunity to play on the next level. What type of blessing would that be? And just how long has the NFL been a dream for you?
So like me and my brother Kavard Cup, like we grew up in like a bad situation. So like football is always our way out. So you know what I'm saying, football is like a big part of my family. So I take football serious. So that's always been my goal. So I was a little kid, I told my family we're gonna play in the NFL, we better take care of them. So that's gonna be a big thing for me, be a blessing for me and my family. And that happened.
Absolutely. So NFL draft fans, you need to get Mr. Malik Dunlap, defensive back out of Texas Tech, former NC State transfer. You need to get him on your radar. Big 6'3", 215-pound corner who could play multiple spots in the secondary. Malik, I appreciate this again, man. You've taken a little bit of time. This was fantastic to get a little of the background, man. I really appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you having me.